Hello and welcome back to this channel. I'm your host, Edi Kanobot. This is Isaac News. As you all know, on this channel, our job is to bring you up to speed with amazing things happening in the country. And today I have something that wouldn't disappoint. Good news, fresh and very interesting. Okay, it's about FIRS. You may ask, what's FIRS? FIRS is the Federal Inland Revenue Services. So this is the body tax with, getting taxes primarily, but it's also the body that records the amount of money we generate, as a country. Federal Inland Revenue Services. So the FIRS raked in an unprecedented 10 trillion naira tax revenue in the year 2022. My God, we generated over 10 trillion naira from tax last year. See, if you don't know if this is massive, this is big. Why is it big? We have one of the lowest tax rates in the world. Please know it and have peace. Our tax rates are very low. If you know what Europeans charge themselves as taxes, you will live in Nigeria. Okay, most of the people who have gone abroad are planning to come and settle in Nigeria. Just so you know. Now, that aside, it's also big and huge. Why? Because how many people do you know who is watching this video that pay taxes? Do you pay tax? Do I pay tax? I'm not earning so far, so I don't pay tax. How many people pay taxes? How many? Very few. A fraction of our nation, our working population, pay tax. Okay, outside those people working for governmental organizations, be it state, federal, or local government, those people working for multinational companies, those people working for million naira companies or billion naira companies, outside those huge companies, other people who pay tax. A lot of our population do not pay taxes. So for us to rake in 10 trillion naira in 1 year from tax revenue, I cut cap for the guys in charge of doing this. This is huge. This is massive. By the way, sure you know that tax is a minor percentage of a country's profit. So when a country who does not even pay tax a lot can make 10 trillion naira from tax, when we make 10 trillion naira from tax, is that not enough to inform you that the money running in our economy is almost illegal? Is so much. In the midst of, oh my God, this is the worst time in Nigeria. This is the worst season in our history. Last year is supposed to be the worst year that Nigeria has ever lived in. Somehow we pulled out 10 trillion. In fact, if we are to be very critical, we had tax wave of over 1 trillion naira. Do you know what tax wave is? Tax wave is where the government say, okay, don't pay tax to certain people. Why? Because those people use their tax to do certain things. So government granted tax wave to certain companies because those people use the tax to build roads or build certain infrastructure. Do you know what it means? It's like saying Nigeria's tithe for those who are Christians. Tithe is 10% of your income. The Nigeria pays tithe of 10 trillion. Do you know what that means? Do you know how much we are making for us to pay tithe of 10 trillion? So much money. So much money is flowing. I mean, now tax, as you know, this is legit money, legal money. And these are people who have even decided to present themselves to be taxed. This is clean money. 10 trillion with our low tax rates. This is what Europeans see and say, I'm coming to set up factory or set up industry in Nigeria. When a country with a very low tax rate can rake in 10 trillion naira, there's money in that country. Me too, let me come and take out my own share. These are the things that the people who are trooping to this country are looking at, that is making them run down here. And these are the things you ought to look at so you too can be properly positioned to invest massively, deeply, seriously in this country. Nigeria is one of the easiest countries to make money in. If you don't believe me, ask businessmen who have tried doing business outside Nigeria. We are one of the easiest countries. I'm not saying we are the easiest. We are among the easiest countries to make money in. Fact. If not, all the European countries should be going to other African countries to set up base. But they are running to Nigeria. It's a marathon. So we're going to be looking deep into this matter of tax and the FIRS and the taxation, the incentives, the jobs done with them with taxpayer money and some other things. We're going to be looking critically into it. So please don't go anywhere. Deep stuffs are loading. Please like this video, share, engage me in the comment section. And as I'm always advocating, don't watch my videos and be satisfied. Go on and make research. Join groups where they share good news. I will start dropping links on all of my videos to our Telegram handle. Go there and digest all the information there and understand things that happen in this country. All right. You may want to know, what are the tax rates in Nigeria? Okay, how much do they tax, and what are the things to know about it? So this tax is calculated as per your annual income. So if you're earning an annual income of about 300,000 naira a year, if that's your annual income, so for someone earning about 300,000 naira per year, it means your salary is just below 30,000, because 30,000 naira times 10 months is 300,000. So the other 2 months, I mean, you're earning just below 30,000. Your tax is 7% of your annual income. So it's not even up to 10%. Okay. Everybody earning from 300,000 to 500,000 plus annually has a tax percentage of about 7%. You're earning up to 600,000 naira and above, you have a tax percent of 11%. So if your annual income is 600,000 and above, your tax percentage is 11%. If you're earning an annual income of about 1.1 million naira and above, 1.1 million naira and above, your tax is 15%. 1.6 million naira and above, your tax is 19%. If your annual income is about 3.2 million naira and above, your tax is 21%. You're earning up to 3.2 million naira, your tax is about 21%. If you're earning over 3.2 million naira a year, your tax is 24%. That's the highest for people earning over 3.2 million naira a year. Now, for people working in government offices, as you should know, before they pay your salary, they have already removed your tax. So if after paying your salary is let's say 200,000 naira, every month they've deducted tax from that your salary. So whatever comes in as your alert is your money. They've already taken out tax from that money and sent to the government. So every government worker pays tax without actually paying it, because they deduct it from your salary. So if you're earning millions of naira in a government firm, they've already taxed it. In some very big private firm, they've already taxed it before even paying you. So these are the tax rates in Nigeria.
Now you will see that there are a lot of projects that are ongoing all over the country. There is no geopolitical zone of the country that you will not see one or major project that is ongoing that will change the life of the people. For example, you have the second Niger Bridge. A lot of work has gone into that. You can see a lot of work has gone into our electricity distribution, building more generation capacity, improving the generation capacity. A lot of work is ongoing. But one of the things that I always tell people is that most times when you are planting, people don't see it. You see the roads that are being constructed in different parts of Nigeria. You have the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. You also have others in the other geopolitical zones, like in the Lokoja, Abuja Expressway. Even when you are passing, you see a lot of work is ongoing. And if you go to the northeast, you see a lot of infrastructure. A lot of fund has been devoted to infrastructure in this administration. You can also see the efforts of government in developing the youths. There have been a lot of programs. We have the small and medium SMEDAN. A lot of money has been devoted to SMEDAN to bring up new enterprises. You also have a lot of interventions by the Central Bank of Nigeria in agriculture, also in enterprises, even people that are into fashion design. The Central Bank is providing fund for people so that we can also leverage on the USA's AGOA, African Growth Opportunities Act, so that Nigerians can also export.
All right, back to our tax and to the FIRS, which is the Federal Inland Revenue Services. So these guys raked in about 10 trillion naira, 10.1 trillion to be more precise, in the year 2022. This figure represents the highest tax collection ever recorded in the history of the FIRS, in the history of Nigeria. 10.1 trillion, although it has fallen short of the target for the year. Okay, so in the year 2021, our projection for the year 2022 from tax was about 10.44 trillion naira. That was the projection, that was the forecast, but it is 10.1 trillion naira, taking into consideration that we had over 1.4 trillion naira tax wave. We waived away 1.4 trillion naira of tax for certain bodies because they were using that money to invest in capital infrastructures in the country. MTN got the tax wave because it was supposed to build a road. Dangote got the tax wave because he was supposed to build one very massive road like that, and some other companies. So the Nigerian government told some big million or billion dollar companies in Nigeria, see what to do. If your tax is worth, let's say, 1 trillion naira, If you can take up a capital infrastructure and deliver it at maybe 70 to 80% of your tax, we can allow you to keep the remaining 20% of the money. So if you can pick up a project worth 800 billion naira, we can allow you to keep the other 200 billion in the case where your tax is what 1 trillion naira. Do you get the point? So that's how tax wave happens. So the government is incentivizing some private sector people to engage in nation building. In a situation where there was no tax wave, we would have hit our target for the year and even exceeded it by over 1 trillion. So we have our oil revenue from tax and non-oil revenue from tax. And about 4 trillion naira was the total amount generated from oil taxes. So oil taxes amounted to 4 trillion naira, or 41% of total collections from tax, while non-oil revenue accounted for 5.96 trillion naira, or 59% of total taxes collected for the year 2022. This report showed that companies' income tax gotten from companies accounted for 2.83 trillion naira. Value added tax accounted for 2.51 trillion naira. Electronic money transfer levy stood at 125 billion naira. These are heavy figures that are being gotten from taxes. And in the light of the new cashless policy that is being implemented in the country, it would further improve our taxation. It's going to make it easier and smoother, because now it's going to be very easy for the government to track those who are not paying tax and those who should pay tax. And even if you don't increase the tax rate, but more and more people are compelled to pay tax according to the law, it's going to generate a lot of money for the Nigerian economy. Now, tax is already serving as a major source of revenue to finance our budget. I made a video a few days ago about the Nigerian budget. So the Nigerian budget that has been passed for the year 2023 is about 21 trillion naira. If you can get in 10 trillion naira from taxing alone, let's presume for the year 2023, we have financed about 45 to 48% of 2023's budget. By the time we stop fuel subsidy, we spend sometimes 4 to 6 trillion naira on fuel subsidy. Just be calculating how much money is going to be coming to the economy. By the time we stop fuel subsidy, by the time Dangote and the other modular refineries, please check out my videos. Dangote Refinery, the BUA Group Refinery, Watersmith Refinery, and River State Refinery, the modular refineries scattered all across the oil producing states. By the time all these people start working optimally, we're going to stop importation of crude oil products, and we're going to increase exportation of crude oil. So we'll save all the dollars we're spending on importing crude oil and refined petroleum products, and we're going to make all the money we can make from exporting crude oil to the different nations of the world. That is money. That's huge. So even increased production is going to increase our tax revenue. So there is a lot of good. And in another way you can check a country's growth is by checking their tax. When a country rakes 10 trillion naira from tax in 1 year, it shows you that something good is happening. Last year, in the year 2021, our tax revenue was about 6.41 trillion naira. 6.4 trillion naira. That's the money we made from tax. And in 2022, the worst year in quotes, according to many Nigerians, the worst year Nigeria has ever experienced, suddenly we had a tax of 10.1 trillion. Wow. This is what people who are into business, these are the news they check. They don't check our news that is that has been laced with bigotry and laced with tribalism and laced with nepotism. They check business figures. They check taxes. They check some other figures, and they say, this country is a nice place for doing business. If we raked in 6.4 trillion naira last 2021 from tax, and we now got 10.1 trillion from tax 2022, what kind of country is that? Is that country going backwards? Or are we experiencing a growth spurt? There's a lot going on. In the year 2021, that was the first time in our history of reaching a tax of 6 trillion naira. We made a new achievement. In 2022, first time in our history again, we have reached a tax of 10 trillion naira. If you were to ask me, the money will keep rising. Why? Our production capacity is increasing at a supersonic rate. The amount of money we are now saving from reduced importation is increasing. So more taxes. Oh my. A lot of money is going to come in just through tax, and this is just tax and tax alone. So please, okay, keep tracking our growth. Keep tracking this positive perspective, because these are the things that matter in the long run. We're not saying that things are not tough, that things are not hard, that things are all rosary. rosy. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that in the midst of all this, we are building steadily as a nation to become a global hub by the year 2025. Okay, we've come to the end of this episode of the video. I'm sure you enjoyed it like I also did. I'd like you to share your thoughts in the comment section. Engage. Please, if you're following me, be a researcher. Research. Follow good news. Like I said, I'll be dropping our Telegram handle in all my videos moving forward. So you can check out these things yourself and familiarize yourself with things happening in Nigeria. All right, till we see you again, Godspeed.